Good morning. How are you? I'm good. Mr. Taboma Upa again for security training. Today I'm going to present Module 9, Grade E, titled Guarding and Patrolling. Right. Guarding and patrolling, we can say it is the function of security whereby you must be able to control access, whereby you must be able to do detection around the premises to make sure that nobody come in unauthorized. So you patrol to check if nobody gained access without authority or authorization. Then you guard the area. By patrolling, you are just ensuring that nobody bypassed the security systems. Right. Before we go any further, let me just introduce to you the objectives of this module. Objective number 1. You must, at the end of this module, you must be able to list the security risks to check during a patrol. Number 2, correctly identify physical barriers as well as patrol monitoring systems. Number 3, you must be able to use cover, illumination, shadow, and obstacles to your advantage during a patrol. Number 4, you must be able to identify correctly possible concealment sites on a given premises, which means concealment sites is somewhere where a criminal can hide without you knowing. So you must be able to correctly identify those. Number 5, locate and correctly identify emergency equipment. Very important. In case of emergency, maybe there's a fire, then you know where to find the firefighting equipment. Right. Number 6, list the correct general procedure in the event of an emergency. 7, list unsafe acts and unsafe conditions which will result in hazardous working conditions. 8, list the different types of patrols that can be carried out during a shift. 9, list the principles of effective patrolling. 10, demonstrate the ability to take action at an incident as prescribed in this module. 11, list the correct methods of escorting people and vehicles. All right. Let's go now to the aim of this module. What is the aim of guarding and patrolling? The aim of this module. The aim of this module is to ensure security guards do guard and patrol duties correctly. Right. Let's move now to the aims of patrol or the aims of patrolling. Aim number 1, to prevent unauthorized entry into the premises and if it occurred, to trace it. Aim number 2, to prevent any irregularities within the premises and if it occurred, to trace it. Those are the aims of patrol. Right. Then now we move on to posting of guards. But before the guards are posted, it is prescribed that before going on duty, guards will be paraded. To be paraded, it's like they'll be standing in straight lines. It's like a parade, just like the army and the police. They will be paraded and inspected to ensure that, number 1, the guard is sober, not under the influence of alcohol or drugs, and is physically fit for duty. Number 2, the guard is neatly and correctly turned out. When they say the guard is neatly and correctly turned out, it simply means to say The guard is in smart, clean, ironed uniform and polished boots, all insignia shining. Number 3, the guard has in his or her possession the right personal equipment required for the task or post, and that it is serviced. When they say it is serviced, it simply means like radios, it is fully charged. Right. What equipment are they talking about? Let's look now at the equipment of guards. We've got batons, we've got whistle for emergency purposes, although these days they are resorting to panic buttons. We've got pepper spray, we've got handcuffs, we've got metal detectors, we've got firearms and ammunition, also a pocketbook and a pen, occurrence book, bulletproof vest if issued, torch for night shift. Those are what we call the equipment of guards, which must be in his or her possession after coming out of the parade. Right. After now the guard has got all the equipment is prescribed, then they must now perform what we call the handover takeover procedure, whereby the incoming guards and the outgoing guards. Incoming guards are the guards that were on parade that are coming to take over the shift. Outgoing guards are the guards that were there that are going home now after the shift. So they must perform what we call handover takeover procedure. Right. How do they do it? Number 1, they hand over all the equipment, the necessary equipment, which is for that task or post, e.g. radios, pepper sprays, batons, two-way radios, and so forth. Right. And then, after handing over that equipment, the outgoing guard, he must brief the incoming guard about any ongoing problems related to the post, especially maybe if there was an incident. He must now update by informing the incoming guard so that he must be well aware and up to date of what is happening on the side. Then number 3, they must record. They record the equipment as well as the handover takeover in their pocketbooks as well as the occurrence books. All the guards, they must conduct themselves in a smart and disciplined manner. As members of a uniformed force must behave. Each guard post will have a post description or a task description containing all the responsibilities associated with it. Right. And it must be kept up to date by the security supervisor. The guard at the guard post must always be alert to notice, number 1, any substandard act or condition which can result in hazardous working conditions. Number 2, unauthorized persons or vehicles within the vicinity. Then now we come to the knowledge which the guard must have in order to be able to discharge the guard function. Within the overall security plan, each guard will have a specific area of responsibility. In order to fully discharge his or her duties, the guard must have both general and specific knowledge about the post. As I said, that the guard must have general and specific knowledge about the guard post. This must include the name, number, or description of his or her guard post, thorough knowledge of the layout of vulnerable areas and vital points which he or she is guarding and why he or she is guarding them, the location of adjacent guard posts, a system of reference points enabling him or her to report accurately on any activity near his guard post, possible lines of approach and hiding places for criminals, the use of light and shadow for positioning himself or herself while on duty, the procedure by which people must identify themselves in order to gain access, let's say the password system, swiping system, fingerprinting system, special instructions regarding leaving the post, location of first aid and firefighting equipment, reporting procedures either using radio or telephone. He must have a list of all the emergency numbers in his pocketbook, and there must also be a list in the guard room where he will be able to check the emergency numbers. The extent of his powers of arrest, search, custody within the framework of the law. We come now to sounding the alarm in case there is an emergency. You can only sound an alarm, number 1, in case of fire, 2, attempted forced entry, 3, discovery of suspicious articles, 4, presence of unauthorized persons or vehicles, 5, attempted interference with security protective devices, e.g. fences, lights, gates, doors, windows, or intruder detection systems, e.g. alarms and cameras. Right. We come now to discharging the guard function. Guards must understand that their function is to protect property, and to achieve this, they must have 3 main lines of defense. Number 1, deny, which is by preventing unauthorized entry and observations. 2, to detect by patrolling, guarding alarm system and informers. 3, to deter by guards, dogs and physical barriers. Let's look now at the security risks, which is why we do guard patrol duties. What are the risks that are likely to be there? We have got 1, trespass, 2, theft, 4, breaking and entering, 5, arson, 6, armed robbery, 7, fraud, 8, sabotage, 9, terrorist attacks. Those are the risks why they need security to protect their properties. Right, then we come now to reporting procedures. How do the guards report if anything happens on site? Guard must know that they must report any situation or any incident which can be prejudicial to the property that they protect. They must also report immediately any damage or malfunction of any physical security aids. The guard's routine must be for the periodic reporting control by radio or telephone at intervals. If you or she fail to report, control will contact him or her. If he doesn't respond, then it should be investigated. Usually the investigation, the controller dispatches the supervisor if he's not in the area. If he's in the area, he's going to contact the supervisor to say, okay, look, go to such a site, the guard didn't report, and find out what is happening. Because sometimes the guard will be dead or will be robbed or be tied up, so that's why he's not responding. Right. So now, from there, now we come to the types of patrol that we have. We've got basically 4 types of patrols. Number 1, we've got what they call perimeter patrol. Perimeter patrol is simply like 50 square meters or 100 square meters. Then the guard will be just going around that perimeter of that premises. After that, then he does his reporting. Number 2, we've got area patrol. Area patrol is done in a vast piece of land or vast piece of premises. For example, airports. And you can't patrol on foot. Usually they use cars or bikes or quad bikes or horses, because it's quite a huge area. You cannot patrol on foot. That's what we call area patrol. Then number 3, we've got internal building patrol. And then number 4, we've got external. On the internal and external, if you go to places like welfare department, where a lot of people are going there, you find guards on the gate, guards on the door, guards inside. Those that are outside are actually doing what we call external building patrol. Those that are inside are actually doing what we call internal building patrol. So those are the 4 types of patrol that can be carried out on a shift. 1, perimeter patrol. 2, area patrol. 3, internal building patrol. 4, external building patrol. Right, let's go now to the physical barriers. If you remember the objective, they say you must be able to correctly identify physical barriers and patrol monitoring systems. Physical barriers are things that actually block or protect the area from easy penetration. Things like doors, windows, burglar proofing, safes, gates, strong rooms, fences, and safety doors. Those are what we call physical barriers. And we come now to the risks to check during patrol. Check doors open, keys left in doors, windows left open, damaged padlocks. We've got expensive equipment left outside. Those are what we call the risks to check on patrol. All right. On conclusion, in this module, we say the company is as good as their guards are. So, because the guards perform 90% of all security work. So, if all the guards perform their work accurately and perfectly, crime won't take place. Thank you very much for this session of today. I'm coming with module 10 tomorrow, which is correct use of a fire extinguisher. Keep on watching my channel. I'm going to bring you more and more security knowledge. Thank you very much. God bless you.